Live stream isn't available right now. Try again or finish. Oh, this might work. Maybe. Maybe.
You should drag us over to your other.
Just give me a sec here. I need to go to my videos. Where are you? Videos. There we go. And then need lives. Voyage of Legacies. Stream 5 live. Is that working? Let's just make sure. Paste and go. And it's working! Alrighty. Okay, give me a sec, everyone, to go and move stuff over. There we go. Alrighty, sorry for the wait. I'll have to copy and paste this link a few times. Here we go. Alrighty, give me a sec here. There we go. Alrighty. One of these days I'll figure out, hey, I only had to remake the stream 3 times this time. Last time it was 4. So I was thinking it was actually going to be more every single time, but there we go. And then we are live. And I just got to do it for the T and Tori channel, which shout out to T and Tori. And the Tiantorians. Hope it becomes a thing. Live. There we go. And lastly, DC20. There we go. Which I haven't been actually posting to. I've been doing lives, but haven't been posting to the DC20 channel, just the others. Live. There we go. And then I'm just going to go in. Let's see where we go. Alrighty, there we go. Well, welcome. I'm going to first get rid of myself because the echo has been a little crazy, but good that it's there. You know, it's nice to know that it's working because otherwise it's hard to see it for me, right? But yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Find it best. There we go. If I mute myself, there we go, and then I can still interact with you guys. So, yeah. Welcome back, Voyage of Editing. This is kind of where we just take time to talk about DC20, talk about Voyage of Legacies stuff, have the potential to actually influence part of the game Voyage of Legacies. And that's what we're doing today, is doing some ancestry building, hopefully. I will be doing another stream here in a bit, probably a week or two. Probably a month later. I'll take a look when I first did the Corsals, and I'll probably do the same time every month on DC Crit for creature editing. I know I probably... I got a sketch at the moment for a flow. Don't have a token for it, so I'll probably use a sketch for the flow for the next one. Oh, coffee. Where would we be without coffee? At least for me, anyways. Yeah, so we're going to talk about some Ancestries. It's something that I need to personally do, and to coach, I think it's phenomenal that with coach, like doing 2 streams a week, right? Public, and then an update public, and then a Patreon live stream, which if you're not part of, the Patreon live stream is phenomenal. Actually kind of work on that and gave me the idea for Voyage of Editing, to actually show kind of behind the scenes, like what I do for editing, and what I do for creating content for Voyage of Legacies for my players. I will keep it as spoiler-free as possible. Might not always be the case, and I know some of you do not mind that there's spoilers. But yeah, if you have something else to chat about, or you have any questions, leave them below. I'll try and do my best to keep an eye there on the chat, just to make sure, Yeah, but without further ado, let's get into Ancestries. So for those unaware, I imagine everybody would be aware, but for those unaware, Ancestries are DC 20's version of races or species. It defines not just what you are. I'm a human, I'm a goblin, I'm a giant, I'm a, whatever it is. So it doesn't just define what you are, but the ancestry points in the ancestry allow you to customize your own independent, let's say goblin, or human, let's go with human. Your own dependent human, there's kind of like a default set of traits. So it's your general human characteristics, like 5 fingers, I don't know. Extra abilities, which we'll get into in a second here. I'll kind of just throw the humans kind of on screen just for people to see here for a second. Actually, I can go to my own humans. Here we go. And so far, the humans... So all these are art. They're not DC 20 art. These are the my own campaign art. Artist is Universal, who has been doing a fantastic job of all my races or species, my ancestries on the Vercouvan Archipelago. Yeah, actually, I just have headshots at the moment, but currently Universal's hard at work doing full bodies. So eventually we'll have some full bodies. And actually, on that note, I'm just going to take a quick aside, and I'm just going to message Seed Group that Universal is a part of. So it might be kind of fun. Might even have a pop-in from Universal. Yeah! There we go. Beauty. So yeah, that's kind of the ancestry feel. So there's some ancestries that are your basics that you don't need to take. You could if you just want to. If someone wanted to be like, hey, I'm just a human, then you just be like, I just want to play as a human. One of your players comes, all right, anything special? No, I just want to be a human. Let's get to it. Okay, so just take the default traits and there you go, your basic human. But there are other ones as well. And a lot of this I know pretty much the audience, the community is going to know, but for first-time viewers. So first, appreciating said art, we've got the human male and the human female, kind of just a baseline traits kind of thing, right? Again, I know we're not shattering any, like, Earth here, Aerith. Not shattering any Aerith. For those unaware, Aerith is the name of the the mass that they exist on in the campaign. So then here's your default, and these are again just straight from DC 20. I don't want to change anything for at least my humans. Keep them as easy to understand as vanilla. Then if they go on to do different campaigns, then you understand what like a DC 20 human is. For other stuff, actually I'm going to switch that right now in OBS because I totally messed that up. That image actually on the top is a croaker, but let's get a human instead. There we go, we got the human because that's what we're on. So everything when you start off with DC 20, you're going to get 5 ancestry points. So the 5 ancestry points, you kind of can a la carte it, or again, all the defaults will add up to 5. Now, as you notice here, there is a 0, right? There is a undying, which I recommend all my players take. 0 conditions typically don't do a lot. They'll be kind of niche, so it's kind of nice and easy to give away without worrying about balancing. Obviously, there's still a benefit, right? For this one, Undying, you have advantage saves against the Doom condition, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. I have not encountered in any of my games a Doom condition yet. That being said, that could very well change, right? And for those interested in Voyage of Legacies, oh hey, Mantic! Welcome, Mantic! Awesome guy, awesome shout out. Speaking of shout outs, oh my gosh, Liam, if Liam comes by at all, huge shout out to him. Thank you, Liam. On the last live stream, 63, the beta Q&A 63 live stream that happened here yesterday for DC 20 for the Dungeon Coach. Liam super chatted as his regular super chat, the great person of the week, and that was me, so huge honor, very humbled by it. Thank you so much again, Liam. I've already reached out to him to thank him, and he's the awesome person, Liam. Truly, just a great guy. We've had one chat just kind of talking about things, and hopefully we'll continue just kind of spitballing and stuff like that here. But yeah, just an awesome guy. Mantic as well. Fantastic. Mantic is just such a supporter, such a great guy. The new mod for Bardic Aggravation's Discord channel, fantastic. Yeah, honestly, they couldn't have got a better guy. And Mantic, if you ever wanted another Discord channel, wouldn't be against it. No, I know you probably got a lot on your plate. I don't want to add there, but yeah, welcome. Yeah, so getting back to it. We got, excuse me, human, so I like to homebrew, and I feel akin to Coach in that regard, where I like to, make things a little different, so it's kind of unique, and it allows for kind of play that is relevant to that setting, relevant to that methodology and that kind of stuff. So for Voyage of Legacies, so it's a couple different reasons, but one, there's a thematic element, there's a narrative reason, but there is also a separate reason in that to be as newbie friendly. I want people to be able to pick up the Vercouvan Archipelago's campaign and be able to run it as their very first TTRPG, right? I want to make it as easy and newbie friendly. So it is in an odd way, but stay with me, I'll explain it in a bit. It is in an odd way that everyone starts as human. I know, this might sound a little off, sound kind of gatekeepy, railroady. Let me explain why before I get into the comments. The reason is because it's an isekai setting, you start where you are in the real world. It's also why Session 0 is not... We did a Session 0. I've done Session 0 for every one of my players. Highly recommend it. My Session 0s are never... Maybe recorded. I don't think any yet have been recorded. But may be recorded. But are never released to the public. The only reason for that is because they contain personal information. Right? Because I literally go through, and maybe I'll do a a mock video here of what a session 0 is and maybe go through it. But for me, my session 0s are asking, the person about their day, the players about their day, what they do for the rest of the day, and I lead up to the point where they go to bed for the night. Now, there is something else that happens during that time, and there's a little, let's call it a clue, that kind of goes through. And when they wake up next, they wake up in this white room, almost like, I use this reference quite a bit, sort of the waiting room before you enter the Matrix, as Neo does and Morpheus in the Matrix, right? There's like that white room where it's an infinite void of white, and it's just kind of a waiting room. Some may think of it as purgatory if you want, or however you want to go about it. You flavor it any number of ways. But I have the white room, and there's a couple of objects to interact with. And by going through the kind of objects, eventually you end up building your own character. But your character is kept at human. And again, that's just a friendly way of you being able to do it. So newbie friendly, so you're human. You don't have to worry about too many decisions. I've heard, a lot of people, I heard complaints of DC 20 being like overloaded with options, and it's just, it becomes too complex. Complexity is fine, but I understand for a newbie environment, you're right, being a little too out there might be a little, something that's kind of narrowed down in its scope might be a bit better. So that's why I kind of force down to human. Because I want people to feel like they can come in, and everybody who plays understands human. I hope everybody who plays understand what it's like being human, to an extent at least. Get into some conspiracy theory territory. Maybe the person across the way you're playing with, are they a human? But anyways, no. Everybody who's playing understands kind of basic, as a human, right? Everyone who plays as a human. So you start off as a human, and you go into. I won't spoil this part, but you do make your character a human character, and you play it almost as an avatar, right? You enter the world as it. But with all the knowledge of, our world currently on Earth, right? And part of the other reason why I kind of keep it as human, and this is why, one is the newbie friendly sake, but the other one is another reason why human only to start, is I want players to have that adventure of exploration and see what other races are there. Because there's some races in DC 20 that are not on the Vercouvan Archipelago. They're in Aerith, 100%, for sure, they are there. But in this first campaign, which is supposed to be a lower level campaign, they might not be there. Now, if you really wanted them to be there because it's a living sandbox world, maybe you're the one who actually creates or makes it so that race exists on the Vercouvan Archipelago. And then now that's a retelling, right? The other reason of human, and I kind of hinted it to there, is I have what I'm referring to, unless, copyright shenanigans forces me to, or trademark forces me to have to change, the anamorph system. So, little different, and here's the homebrew aspect, little different than DC 20, where I tell my players, you can take all these traits, these default traits, or you can even go into the expanded traits, right? Which we'll get into in a second. But yeah, you can take all those traits, or you can save them. And as you learn about the other races, or ancestries, species, again, whatever you prefer to call it at your table, probably stick to ancestries. As you learn about them, you're able to adapt and change and morph into something else. So you start off, some of my players take 0, well, slight exception, but basically 0 traits. They might take the Undying because it's free, right? Might as well. So you take the Undying trait as a human, and then through, again, no spoilers, but through the campaign, there's the ability where you find, let's see what the next one is here, a goblin. You find a goblin. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I kind of like how they're small sized, or I kind of like how they're, escape artists and stuff like that. And as you spend time and you learn from them on your next level up, you can be like, well, I know enough of Goblin. You know what? I want my character to, during its level up, it gets shrunk. And it becomes, there's this anamorph system that exists in the Vercouvan Archipelago. Now, some of you may ask, does the anamorph system exist outside the Vercouvan Archipelago? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. There is something about the Vercouvan Archipelago that makes certain systems unique to it, as well as certain methodologies. And you'll have to watch our campaign or eventually play to figure out. We're getting to the place in the campaign right now where you can actually kind of piece together that there could be something that maybe is causing this anamorph system. So look forward to that. But for what we're here today for, we're here for Ancestries. So let's go through a few. We got human, like I mentioned earlier. Now, attribute increase, love this. And I do share for my players, like, hey, it's 2 to dip in there if you want. Choose an attribute. The chosen attribute increases by 1 up to the attribute limit. That's just a nice plus. Totally keep it in there. Love it. Skill expertise, kind of niche, but I do like it. Just give me 1 second here. Choose a skill. Your mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen skill both increase by 1. You can only benefit from 1 feature that increases your skill mastery limit at a time. I love this because you not only get a point, but you also increase your cap. That's huge. So you don't have to be stuck in like a rogue, right, to get that. And because, at least for Vercouvan Archipelago, you start as human, this is fantastic to then already have access to that, right? You can already take that from it. Human Resolve. This is kind of what I recommend, especially for lower levels. You can take Human Resolve. Your death door threshold value is expanded by 1. Massive for low levels. Massive, right? That is a huge benefit. Undying, of course. Niche, but get it for free. So, Now, expanded traits. So if you want to actually, and this is where you're more invested, and you're not like just give me a basic human. You're like no. My human's a bit more tradeful. My human has a bit more determination. My human is unbreakable, right? That's where you kind of play around. But pros and cons, right? You gotta weigh the options, right? So trade expertise, choose a trade. Your mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen trade both increase by 1. You can only benefit from 1 feature that increases your trade limit mastery level 1 time. Now this is interesting. I understand the balancing that had to happen here. Skills come up far more often than trades. So I completely understand why it is 2 for skills and 1 for trade. But I absolutely love that it's an option there for humans. Because humans could be very, in their generacies, right? Humans are very interested in learning something, in doing something, right? Like very flavorful. Also nice just as a basic all-rounder, which is why I also choose human to start off, right? So there's another reason too for my players. Human determination. Once per combat, you can give yourself advantage on an attack check or spell check while bloodied. That's that kind of like grit, like, spitting out the blood. Oh, I'm focused now, and you got a sheer concentration. Love it. Great feature. And the fact that it's once per combat, right? Won't get out of hand. Absolutely love that. Unbreakable. Advantage on death saves. Just beautiful, right? Just beautiful. I love that. Again, could be a bit niche. I run a more narrative campaign, so I'm not always doing combat so often. Though they are happening. They're happening. Actually, combat will be coming up in chapter 4? Yeah, 4 I think is the start of combat. So that'll happen. Oh my gosh, it's not something else to talk about. So I know. It's we haven't uploaded anything in a while, minus these live streams that have been kind of starting back up again. Just brought on an editor. I know I talked about it in previous live streams. I have now in my possession Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5. Basically ready to go. I have to do a little bit on the map scroll, right? Kind of the line tracker and that kind of thing, right? So a little bit on that, and a little bit of just small changes, and maybe a little intro. But we are on track to put it up on YouTube, so it should. I know this is not metal, but you know, should be available on YouTube this Saturday for Chapter 3. And then going forward, and I'll make a post about this, going forward, I should have, every second Saturday in upload. Now, that might change going forward a little bit. If we find that we are finally got everything edited and everything is going really nice and smoothly and we're always caught up, there's a potential we might start doing it weekly drops. But for now, every 2 weeks just to maintain consistency. So at least we got that going, right? So look forward to that. Again, I will make a post once I put it in YouTube and get it scheduled. Immediately there'll be a YouTube post informing everyone of the changes. And I gotta still figure out how to do it in Patreon, but I will probably create a different channel, to be honest. I'll have to create a separate YouTube playlist that's private. I think that's how I'll have to do it. But there'll be early access, and this is also why every 2 weeks is so I can give a week early access to Patreon members. So that's coming too. As well as I will try and do small update videos. I will attempt to. It might not. Yeah, you won't see it until probably January, February, where I start doing kind of like a more of an update. This will be pre-recorded. Like future plans of Voyage of Legacies and like kind of more. I'm not like Coach. I understand why he doesn't give fixed timelines, but a generic kind of timeline, like in by blank. You know, we hope to have this out and have this going, and by blank we'll do that. And, I'd love to, go to conventions and do that kind of stuff, but we'll see how it goes and plays out. Getting back. We got attribute decrease. So this is kind of nice. It's a -1. So you might think, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Why would I want to make it harder myself? Well, unless you're the type of player that wants to, get a challenge. If you were like the Elgin Ring, play everything on a banana while twirling and no hit boss run, then, maybe attribute increases for you. Maybe you like a little bit of challenge, a little bit of spice in your game. But the main reason for most players is they're like, I want the basic human, I like everything, but I also want to get like human determination. I just want that as well, but I don't want to sacrifice anything. What do I do? Well, you give yourself an attribute decrease, right? Choose an attribute, you decrease the chosen attribute by 1 to a -2. And that -1 gives you another to put back human determination. So it's kind of nice. You're down in some areas and you're up in some areas. Like I think I mentioned last live stream. Great storytelling. You need some negatives. You need either conflict or you need something to go wrong in order for storytelling to be phenomenal. If you are just the most perfect creature to ever exist and nothing ever changes for you and everything is great, narratively, is that fun? Maybe. But even, let's look at an example of that in anime. Even One Punch Man, who, can defeat anybody with one punch. Spoiler, there has been some enemies that have taken more than one punch. But right? Can defeat anyone with one punch and whatever. The show rests on the negative of how that affects his personal life, right? His day-to-day, the mundane. So maybe you're fantastic and everything like that, but the mundane is where you have issues and you miss deals that you were planning on at a grocery store that you're planning on having, whatever. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but for storytelling, that's, it's not always just being the best at everything. Having some areas for growth and development and some areas that you're less fantastic on are important. Because to human is to err, right? We all have flaws. It's just how it is. For human, I think, I believe I mentioned this earlier, I think I'm just going to keep it completely the same as DC-20, because again, we want this newbie friendly. We want this to be able to, if you're a human in Voyage of Legacies, using the DC-20 system, and you're human in someone else's campaign, I completely understand how they should one-to-one abilities. Just an easy transition over, right? So you totally, if you're playing Vercouvan Archipelago, you can totally just be able to be a human there. Human in other games, totally the same. Oh, excuse me. All right, now, Goblin. So, Goblin is kind of fun, because I'm pretty sure Goblin is not in the... Yeah, Goblin is not in the main DC-20 PDF, main DC-20 PDF at the moment, but it is, oddly enough, official. It's a DC-20 magazine that has it. I'm sure a lot of watchers who see it will have it, so those who've been able to see, you can see it. I think it's the only one ported over. Oh, there is one of the Fell. There is one of the Fell that's also ported over. My Fell. But outside of that, nothing else is ported over from magazine. So everything is just PDF or homebrew. But we'll just kind of go through it for the feel, because I might alter it slightly for the goblins of the Vercouvan Archipelago. There we go. So let's start with small-sized. Yeah, they're small-sized. You kind of have to be, as a goblin. I mean, I guess you couldn't. You could be a hobgoblin, or you could just be like, your goblins in your world are massive and the humans are tiny. I mean, what fun would that be? But at least for my campaign setting, they are small-sized, so makes sense. Escape artist. They have advantage on checks and saves to avoid or escape being grappled or restrained. Yeah, my goblins are pretty crafty and wily, so, they're oddly peaceful, but they do get that escape artist vibe kind of from it as well at the same time. Aggressive. Once per round, you gain advantage on a melee attack. You're exposed on the next attack against you until the start of your next turn. Now, this is interesting because my goblins are not aggressive per se by their very nature. However, it would make narrative sense that based on their past and their passive past ways, they are now aggressive. For my last reading, that I will do a different reading. Voyage of Editing. Oh, I put Voyage of Streaming. I will be changing the title here afterwards. It's supposed to be Voyage of Editing. The goblins in the past under stream number 4 there, Voyage of Editing. When I was reading it, and I will do another reading because obviously that is a work in progress. That's a short story, and I need to work a bit on the beginning of it. The ending I kind of liked. Some things I could change, but the beginning needs to be worked on a little bit. Don't worry, it's just clean up. It's not really going to change the story too much. I might add some additional details and kind of blow out the world just a little bit more. In the past they were quite passive, leading to they having to find a new home, right? And they were actually being slaughtered en masse, right? And I think I showed that with Gotcha pretty well, that she being somewhat representative of goblins seemed a bit more passive, right? A bit more reserved in a way. But now they are a bit more aggressive in regards to, well, one, kind of under Heltica / Gobtica, again, different names, different eras, different names. They are a bit more aggressive, but they are also vindictive is not the right word. A bit more willing to tit for tat, right? Willing to kind of go and engage in combat, where in the past they were not as much, right? So I can leave that there for now, but that is something I might have to change. Actually, I'm gonna throw an asterisk here. Let's throw a couple of asterisks. There we go. Eager for combat. You have advantage on initiative checks. Eager for combat. You have advantage on initiative checks. Well, they do. First one that came across them was kind of gearing up for combat, and because of their nature, again, I might have to change that one. It can make sense narratively. I just might change eager for combat to something along the lines of won't get fooled again, right? Like they're, at least for my campaign, they're not eager for combat per se, but they don't want the slaughtering to have happened again. So it's not eager for combat, but it's more on the lines of by attacking a human that comes across their way first, they can prevent potentially getting hit by the humans. Because for those unaware, the humans and the goblins don't really get along. And again, from the last short story, from the last stream, Voyage of Editing number 4, the humans kind of came in one day and just started slaughtering goblins, and they fled. And so it's one of those, like, they're not eager per se for combat, but they are not willing to get fooled, I guess is the best way to put it. So I might just change the terminology on that one for Voyage, but otherwise, fantastic. Small Fury, nice. You deal +1 damage to large or larger creatures on a heavy or critical hit, which is fantastic. I could see how they've had to be resourceful, and they are resourceful, the goblins, in my campaign. They're quite resourceful. They have been gathering materials and living harmoniously with nature, so they know how to. It's like Yoda. There we go. It's like Yoda, where they've learned, because they are smaller, they can kind of go around and what's the term? Because they are smaller, they can account for their weakness, right? They can overcome it by kind of focusing on vital spots and being a bit more agile, kind of jumping around or whatever. So yeah, totally. Sorry, give me one sec. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah. So, Small Fury, love that. Natural Trapper. You have advantage on checks to gather materials for traps to build them. They don't really trap animals per se, so I might have to get rid of that for goblins, or switch that around. I won't say Natural Trapper. I think I will put in brackets here one with animals. One with animals. alright, it's fine. Yeah, so, yeah, one with animals, because they don't really, you have advantage on checks to gather materials and trap and build them. I would say you have advantage on animal checks to, how do I just explain this? Because you're not trapping animals, but it is advantage on checks to find animals. There we go. So it's, as opposed to trapper, it'd be like natural finder. It's not right. Tracker. Natural tracker. Oh my gosh, that's right. Natural tracker. Because they don't believe natural tracker. They don't believe in restraining anyone, subjugating, right? And stuff like that. They exist with nature in a way. So one with animal, natural trapper. Tracker. Let's go with that. There you go. So they exist with nature, so they're more tracking. They're more finding animals as opposed to capturing animals, right? Because capturing would be kind of considered unjust, right? Sort of a not an evil per se, but a something you don't do. Why? It's just not right. If you could explain that in words, I can't find the right words for that at the moment. Ooh, and on that note, we're talking about goblins, and I still haven't switched the goblin over. Let's do that right now. There we go. So that's default. Again, aggressive and eager for combat. I think I'll change the terminology. Might even change the abilities just slightly. Escape artist, small size, all that's beautiful. Expanded. Here we go. Hit and run. Or if there's something nice here, maybe I'll switch that around as the default, and that way it's kind of a bit more. That might be actually how I do that. But anyways, hit and run. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can spend 1 AP to immediately move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks from the target, which is awesome. I love that kind of concept, like kind of just running over, slice, the leg as you go, just sing, and then off to the side because you're charging. Right? Hit and run, totally can see that for the goblins. Pack tactics. Now this, for at least my campaign, is the best for this. Like, pack tactics makes so much sense for goblins on the Vercouvan Archipelago. I mean, even in chapter 1 there, we saw a goblin riding a flow. That's that two-headed wolf, right? Or wolf-like creature. And even in chapter 2, right, the flow, where there was one with 2 heads, there was suddenly 2 with 1 head. So pack tactics, they are 100% all about that, right? They, again, working with creatures, not trapping and subjugating, but working at a level of respect, kind of in that sense, right? So gaining additional +2 bonus to attacks against creatures you're flanking. Yeah. Trapper, again. To spot traps and trickery checks to hide traps. You have advantage on investigation checks to spot traps and on trickery to hide traps. I get where we're going here, but they're not trappers. Again, we'll probably go tracker to spot animals and to hide animals, kind of idea, right? So we'll write tracker on this here. Tracker. Kind of reflavor that for a little bit. Again, feel free to run Vercouvan Archipelago however you see fit once it's released for people to run. Just because of how I run it doesn't mean that's how everyone runs it, right? But that is something I'll probably change in there as tracker, right? So, trade expertise. Choose a crafting or subterfuge trade. Your mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen trade both increase by 1. A crafting or subterfuge trade. So it's kind of neat. That's like the first division here. Not just any trade, specifically those. Crafting or subterfuge. Love it. I think I'll probably keep that just how it is. Ooh, then we get to the next one, Mischievous Hands. You have advantage on trickery checks made to conceal or steal objects. That is just default goblin. Like that is, you think of a goblin, that is 100% kind of the thought, right? Right. Yeah, and of course, the next one right underneath it, sneaky. You can hide while only partially concealed, such as within thin fog, moderate foliage, or dim light, or while behind half cover, such as behind a creature the same size or larger than you. Again, love it. Sneaky, 100%, yeah. And I do like this -1. I don't know why it's so entertaining for me. I have to get rid of this 4. I don't know why this 4 is here. There we go. -1, reckless. Your PD decreases by 1. That's beautiful. That's just gorgeous. I love that. So again, I'll make some changes here, probably off camera, but at least you get a bit more feel from behind the scenes, right? And then these guys you haven't quite seen yet, but you'll probably see in chapter 6, end of chapter 6, beginning of chapter 7 is probably when you guys see them. The Zwerg and Zwergerin, the male and female. They are my dwarf-like race. Actually, their stat block and defaults are dwarves, but again, we might have to modify and change some things here. Dwarves, in my campaign, at least for the Vercouvan Archipelago, they are a kind of Germanic dwarves, stocky, hardy, miners, smithers, that kind of thing, right? Very, very hard on the outside, very potentially nurturing on the inside, but very hard kind of exterior, right? They stocky, short, kind of typical Tolkien-y kind of vibe there. And as you may have noticed here, yes, the ladies, the Zwergerin, do in fact grow facial hair. They do. That is a trait that they typically do. Now, it is not customary, but it has happened where some of them prefer to shave all the time and not have any facial hair. But normally, yeah, they got facial hair. Maybe not as thick and bushy as like a male Zwerg, but the Zwergerin typically does still have some whiffs and facial hair and something like that, right? And it's not considered obscene in their culture by any stretch. So, going down here, these are just the default traits and stats from the PDF, 0.9.5. And we've got small sized. Size considered small. Again, yeah, if we were to plot it on a line graph, I would say goblins are shorter than dwarves, but dwarves are still shorter than humans, and humans are kind of your baseline for medium sized, right? For compared to small. Escape artist, you have advantage on checks and saves to avoid or escape being grappled or restrained. Escape artist for the Zwergs. Oh, and for those wondering, those who may watch this or that are German speakers will probably understand Zwerg and Zwergerin. But those that are not, Zwerg in German does mean dwarf. It's just how it is. I actually speak German fluently, albeit not well. I speak German in a way that someone would speak English. The same sentence structure, but in German, because my brain doesn't seem to process speaking differently. Because it is a different way of formatting sentences than you would in English. So, which is kind of fun, because then I get to have the Zwerg speak like that, right? Get to speak kind of a messed up way of speaking German, right? So they do speak a form of German, but it would not be considered like a normal German speaker German. Escape artist, getting back to things. I don't know. I don't know if they're escape artists. I might have to switch that just a little, but I don't know what yet. I'll just kind of put it both in there. Because my Zwergs don't really escape out of things. I mean, in their history, so a little look ahead. I've got short story number 2 for Voyage of Legacies, which actually is on Volcuna, who's a NPC that will meet kind of around chapter 8-9, and is with the party to this present day. Volcuna is a Zwerg from Hartheim, which is where the Zwergs live. At least in our current age here. In their past, they did escape, the ones that are alive today, did all escape a confrontation between 2 deities. So does escape artist make sense because of their past things? Well, yeah, potentially. For now, I'm going to leave it, but it might be changed from something else, from escape artist to something else. I'll kind of play with some points here. And I'm sorry, I know I did preface this will be a lot of homebrew, and there's not a lot of homebrew. We're just kind of going over a basic overview, and then I'll be working on this behind the scenes, so the next time we come across Ancestries, I might explain the changes here. And I'll probably do it for that for Voyage of Editing. Alright, so yeah, escape artist, I'm on the fence about. Getting further aggressive. Once per round, you can gain advantage on a melee check. You are exposed on the next attack against you until start of your next turn. Once per round, you're getting advantage on a melee check. Exposed on the next attack against you until the start of your next turn. Yeah, no, that's totally Zwergs. Because they do run into combat. Volcuna, oh my god, Volcuna's run into combat so many times. Party's not sure what to do, and all of a sudden, there goes Volcuna. Eager for combat, you have advantage on initiative checks. Again, 100%, yeah, very Volcuna. Small Fury, you deal +1 damage to large or larger creatures on a heavy or critical hit. Again, yep, I can totally see that. Natural Trapper, you have advantage on checks to gather materials for traps and to build them. Now, I wouldn't say Natural Trapper. I would say Natural Fixer, Natural Crafter. Here, I'm going to write that. Natural Crafter / what did I say? Natural Crafter Fixer. Because they kind of more craft and fix things than they would. Ooh. Sorry about that. So, Natural Trapper? Not really. Natural Fixer? Crafter? Yeah, I could do that. Which would be advantage on checks to, fix things that are broken or craft mundane, make a rake, make a shovel, out of some pieces of wood, right? Maybe a stone, that kind of thing. I could see that. Spamming traits. A lot of these are going to be very common to the goblin there. Hit and run. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you spend 1 AP to immediately move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks on the target. Especially considering what happened last session, yeah, Volcuna definitely hit and run. Pack Tactics, you gain additional +2 bonus to attacks against creatures you're flanking. Do the dwarves have Pack Tactics to the Zwerg? Maybe not. I'll have to look into that. They do pack up, but do they pack tactics? Because the Zwergs are kind of less. They are focused on community, but community with an intentionality of individualism, where the goblins are less individualistic and are far more focused on the community, right? The whole. Yeah. Yeah, probably take out pack tactics and switch them to something else. I don't know what yet. Trapper. You have advantage on investigation checks to spot tracks and hide traps. We're gonna have to fix that. They're not really trappers per se. Trapper. I had something. What was it? It was tracks on trickery checks to hide traps. Or / gem finder. Yeah, because again, they're miners, right? They're like to identify or to find. You know, oh, there's a vein of based on the based on the rock in this area. There's probably going to be some quartz somewhere. Let's follow to see if we can find. There's the vein right over there. Let's go and follow that vein, right? I would say probably ore, gem finder, that kind of thing. Trade expertise. So it's again same. Choose a crafting or subterfuge trade. Your mastery and mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen trade both increase by 1. Again, I like it. I might actually get rid of the subterfuge. I'll throw that here as red. I think. Ooh, I don't like that red. Let's get one of those. There we go. Oh no, hold on. Maybe that was the right red. First one there. Let's see. I just want a bright red. How hard is? More colors. More colors. There we go. Let's go with that. Alright, could just be the way it is looking on there, but that's enough to... I can go take a look at that later. But yeah, no. Crafting, probably, because they're kind of more crafters. Mischievous hands. You adventure on trickery checks made to conceal or steal objects. Is that the word again? I feel like no. Not really mischievous. At least for the Zwergs. For other dwarves, yeah, okay, maybe. But for the Zwergs, not really mischievous. I would say maybe hauling hands. Go with that. Hauling hands, kind of like carrying more stuff, or I don't know. Hauling doesn't even seem right. We'll workshop it again off stream here. Sneaky. You can hide while only partially concealed, such as within thin fog, moderate foliage, or dim light, or behind half cover, such as behind a creature the same size or larger than you. Are they sneaky? They are, in a way. They're sneaky. Subterranean. I will write subterranean sneaky or something like that. I don't know if that's going to matter or not. I might not put it subterranean. Okay, I spelled that so wrong. Subterranean. There we go. Sneaky. Yeah. We'll see. Reckless. It's just a nice one. Just reckless. I could feel like I could throw that against almost anything, right? Be reckless. Your PD increases or decreases by 1. Beautiful. And then we have the Volos. we're just coming up on an hour here, so we'll probably end here. But I'll explain the Volos a little bit, and that's where we'll maybe continue next round, is our next stream when we go on Ancestries again. The Volos are my kind of tall avian race. Actually, in Chapter 3... Sorry, that one came out of nowhere. So sorry for that. My Volos are kind of tall owl people typically. Might be some other bird plumage, but typically owl in their aesthetic design. They would be medium, possibly considered large, but not large as in bulky. Large as in just height, because they are quite tall. So I'll have to see about something like that. They do have a lot of Beastborn ancestry traits where, fly is potential, short distances, excuse me, that kind of stuff, as well as they might have some electrical resistances, so I'll check that out for next time. There's a whole backstory behind it I gotta work on. I think Volume 3. Yeah, I think Volume 3 short story will be on the Volos. Right, and this Sunday, hopefully, you'll be able to see... or Sunday, oh my god. This Saturday, you'll be able to see the first Volo that my players met was Vic. Or no, sorry, not Vic. Vaughn the Volo. And it kind of demonstrates a bit of the Volo nature of being, at least currently in the campaign, based on things that have happened with previous players in the past. The Volos that are traditional, unlike the Dark Volos that you may appear later, the Volos tend to, at least currently, be a bit more, I guess mercantile is the right word to say, but they tend to be a bit more, they tend to be traders, they tend to be a bit more well-mannered, kind of a bit more wheel and deal, I guess, in a way, right? A bit more serving others, you could argue. So they tend to be a bit more like that than others. Now, on the flip side, the players have recently discovered, and that won't be till quite some time, that there's the dark... Actually, you will see in Chapter 4, beginning or end or beginning of Chapter 4... Yeah, end of Chapter 4, I think. And then beginning of Chapter 5, you'll be able to meet two of the Dark Volos. And they... won't give away any spoilers as to why they are the way they are, but... there we go. Hey, Breakfasty. I was wondering if we'd see you eventually. Yeah, exactly. Eventually. They have been changed. And the Dark Volos as such... Hi! The Dark Volos as such have been a bit more... how do I explain this? Have had outsider influence that have changed them, and so they're less servant, like the current Volos that the players first meet. Right. So yeah, we got the Volos there. Just as a recap, Breakfasty, we did kind of do like the there we go. Start with humans. Started talking about them, keeping everything the same as humans. Then we went into goblins, which is a DC 20 magazine, but it is still the official ones. Anything here that has triple asterisks, that's something to be changed. So aggressive might be changed a bit, as well as eager for combat. Natural trapper, which again we're switching to tracker. It's not capturing animals, but it is finding animals. Otherwise, everything else is fantastic, so we'll be switching that stuff around. I'll be doing that off stream later today here, and then we got the Sword Guardian, Escape Artist. Doesn't really make sense for them. maybe hold your ground or something like that. Might be a bit more Zwerg. Natural Trapper, again, Natural Crafter Fixer, kind of main changes there. Pack Tactics, for Zwergs is kind of confusing. It's almost like you could theoretically just give Expanded Traits, Pack Tactics, anything, and yeah, Bulwark would be a good one, yeah, for Zwerg, but Zwerg, not really. Yeah, so, yeah, I might have to switch it to something else. Instead of Trapper, which is what we're probably thinking like something like Ore Gem Finder, like Material Finder as opposed to Trapper. Trade Expertise, might look at only crafting and get rid of Subterfuge for that. Just because, again, on brand for the Zwerg. Mischievous Hands, Stealing, Concealing Objects, Gathering Objects, Hauling Hands. So, like, gathering objects, sure, but concealing and stealing, it's not really. It's on brand. Could be on brand 100% for the goblins. For the Zwergs, not typically. And then sneaky. Their Zwergs are typically subterranean, so yeah, sneaky, but like in caves and stuff like that. To be honest, that's why I need to put as a lot of like cave stuff, right? Subterranean. Otherwise, the rest is pretty good. And then we just kind of talked about the Volos a little bit. And that's kind of where we're at, just to get you up to speed there, Breakfasty. Yeah, been a bit over an hour here, so we'll probably end it here. I'll probably go back tomorrow or so and edit the video and cut that first little bit out as I was trying to figure things out, as it normally is. But hey, benefits. We only had to do this stream 3 attempts as opposed to 4 attempts like the last one, so eventually we'll figure out OBS and everything. Oh hey, Mantic! Aegis is the mod for BA, by the way. I'm just sideline support. Oh my gosh, thank you. I confused you with Aegis. I don't know why I did that. Thank you, Mantic. Wow, not enough coffee. See, I did not reach for the coffee as much as I should have. Feel free to correct me anytime, Mantic, Aegis, Breakfasty, anybody. Feel free to, if I say something wrong, call me out for it. Please do, because I would love early on to correct myself. Then at the end of the video for something I said at the beginning of the video, it'd be typically better to correct right away. Again, back to that aspect, take humanness to air, like I mentioned earlier. But yes, thanks for being around, Mantic. Eventually, like I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping I'll dedicate a week to these weekly streams, so whatever week that is, I did Quersals, I'll probably do that week every month. Will be a DC crit stream of creature creating. So I have a Voyage of Legacies backlog of DC crit creatures. Actually, I'll talk to you a bit more about this, Mantic, but maybe I want to do a test run first. So maybe I'll try and reach out to you on how it works getting the JSON file into Foundry. I know that's probably more Dustbreaker. I'll try and reach out to Dustbreaker too and just kind of get on board and just make sure, like, hey, did I import properly? Just to make sure. Because it was, last I checked the JSON file, it was just like a text, a bunch of random text, so I've uploaded the token editor, by the way, easier to search token rings. Oh, wicked! Thank you. Okay, that'll be something we will be talking about in the next one. 100%. I can't wait to get into that and take a look. Breakfasty, no. I don't know what the no is on Breakfasty, but sideline supporter, yeah, I got that. Okay, perfect. Let's make sure I'm up to date. Yeah, okay, I can't wait to look for that. So that'll be something I'll be calling out on the next creature stream. Voyage of Legacies, again, when they get the flow. Hopefully, and again, kind of not going to wood on this one, I get a proper flow image. I can't see nothing. We can't see nothing. Can't see nothing. I don't know what that means, Breakfasty. Oh, I still don't work though, Foundry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, chat, okay. Yeah, Foundry. We were trying to, as some of you may know, Breakfasty is one, new editor for Voyage of Legacies, but also two, going to be a new player in session 28, I think is the one coming up. It's either 27 or 28, but I'm pretty sure it's 28. Yeah, and we had a couple of, yippee. We had a couple of issues with tempting Foundry. We're in the same city, but like, for some reason, even Foundry didn't seem to work well. I don't know, I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. We'll have to figure out why. It could be also just the way that I'm using play.gg, and maybe play.gg is now having issues, so it could be that. It could maybe be Foundry. A bunch of different things. There's an update too, and I don't want to update just to make sure that, like, because every time there's an update, there's potential for something to mess it up, and that is the main staple game, and I'm like, I don't want to update, I don't want anything to get messed up. So, so we'll kind of figure that all out next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, hope you and your characters have a great voyage throughout your lives and leave lasting legacies. Till next time. See ya.